The person in the coffin that day was not Diana. The world mourned the princess lighting candles all night. But in France, Diana, who had been in the accident, survived. She took on the name Anna Mantro and hid in a monastery where the chapel bells reminded her that justice could not be forgotten. Every day, while people believed she was gone, Diana worked on recovering. Each night, she wrote, listened, and made plans. She sent an anonymous guardianship file and a shocking recording to the media. Money flowed secretly in the dark. Bit by bit, Diana reignited fear in those who thought she had disappeared. She didn't need to show herself. She just needed to keep them awake at night. Then England began to worry about one chilling question. If Diana never died, who would really be in charge the night that wasn't the end? Survival in the shadows. On August 31st, 1997, in the dark of night, Princess Diana was involved in a car accident in Paris. It was rainy and the streets were slick as a black Mercedes S2 180 sped over the Alma Bridge. In the car, Princess Diana sat close to her boyfriend, Dodi Fed. The driver was trying to escape the paparazzi watching them. Suddenly, the car crashed into pillar number 13 in the Alma tunnel. The impact twisted the car, shattered the glass, and fire erupted from the hood. Outside, the photographers who had chased them froze as sirens rang in the distance. By the time help arrived, it was mostly too late. News spread quickly. Diana had died, her body burned and lost in the wreckage. The world seemed to stop. People placed bouquets of white lilies at Kensington Palace, and crowds lined up in the rain to pay their respects. The royal family arranged a grand farewell with many celebrities attending. Even the Queen showed her grief in a rare speech which revealed her deep emotions. But amidst the global sorrow, an alternative story emerged. Some people believed Diana didn't die that night. Her bodyguard, Trevor Rees-Jones, acted quickly and pulled her from the burning car. He knew that if he let others take her, those who had made her life difficult would finish the job. Months before, Diana had set up a plan with trusted contacts. A team of doctors arrived before the authorities could intervene and took her to an unmarked van, escaping the chaos. They rushed her to a quiet clinic on the outskirts of Paris, where they worked for several hours to save her. After 8 challenging hours of surgery, she woke up in pain, but still determined. Her thoughts were on her sons, William and Harry, who kept her focused on recovery. 3 months later, she moved to a hidden monastery in the hills of Provence. There she took on a new identity as Anna Montreux, a French widow. She filled her days with routine, tending to the garden and helping people in need, work that echoed her past life. She dyed her hair black and changed her appearance so nobody would recognize her. The royal family moved on in London with Charles free to pursue Camilla without worry, but Diana stayed away, protecting her sons from the truth. She knew that returning too soon might cause them distress and give Camilla the chance to harm their lives further. So she waited, recalling memories of laughter and love as she looked out at the stars from her window. "I will return," she whispered to herself, writing a half-finished letter to her boys. Not for the throne, for them to keep watch. The tunnel under Alma became a part of history, but for Diana, it opened a path to resilience, deep love, and an unresolved future. A mother's hidden vigil, letters from the shadows. By 2000, 3 years after that painful night in Paris, Diana, now living as Anna Montreux, had found a brief sense of peace in a quiet monastery in Provence. The walls were overgrown with moss, the lavender fields swayed in the breeze, and the church bells softly rang at dawn. This setting allowed her to breathe and escape the chaos of her past. She had no plans to return to England. The royal family had buried her in media coverage, making it hard to return without causing more turmoil. If she showed her face, it would create a media storm, especially with Camilla Parker B.S., who had intruded on her marriage to Charles and became more entwined with the royal family. Diana worried that appearing again would drag her sons, William and Harry, into a whirlwind where Camilla could cause them even more pain. But a mother's longing does not go away easily. It eats away at her. So she reached out to her only connection, Mary, the loyal maid with warm eyes who had been by her side since the Kensington days. Mary, now in her mid-40s with lines from years of dedication, received a letter from a chain of friends in Paris. The note read, "Mary, love, it's me. I'm still here. How are the boys? Are William and Harry safe? Do they ever mention my name?" Mary broke down in her small London flat, tears flowing as she held the letter close to her heart. It was a mix of joy and sadness. Keeping this secret felt heavy, but Mary knew Diana had no choice. Mary sent back cautious updates every couple of months. William, 18, was thriving at St. Andrews, but seemed to carry an unspoken burden. Harry, 15, was full of mischief at Eton, but became distant, especially when returning home. Diana read those letters by candlelight, her hands shaking and tears smudging the ink. She imagined William's smile and Harry's playful spirit. Not being able to hold them left her breathless. Then in 2003, a new letter from Mary struck her like cold water. It said that Camilla was taking control. She was influencing the boys, acting like their mother. William had to leave his dorm, and Harry's friends were suddenly off limits. Their routine turned into strict drills, learning to walk and talk, ideally. Camilla's message was clear: earn your place, yet Mary sensed it was all about power. Diana clenched the paper until her knuckles turned white. Knowing that William, her sensitive son, had been removed from his comfort, and that Harry, her lively boy, felt trapped, ignited a fire in her. "No more," she whispered, nails digging into her palms. Camilla was slowly taking over. At Clarence House, things were tense. While trying to hold it together, William disagreed with Charles over the dinner table. "She's not one of us," he shouted once, dropping his fork in frustration. Charles remained silent. Harry fought against his restrictions, trying to send notes to friends and plan escapes, but Camilla's guards always caught him. The endless hours of royal etiquette felt unbearable. The boys understood the rules. Camilla sought the throne while they were left with chains. Diana felt the pressure from her place in Provence as if it were her own. Attacking directly was not an option, but that fierce motherly love sparked a plan. She wrote in her journal night after night, analyzing Mary's news and predicting Camilla's next moves. "She thinks she has one," Diana wrote defiantly, "but I won't let her break my family." The tension in the palace grew. William noticed the changes. Strangers replaced the familiar faces. Harry played tough, but wrote desperate notes about feeling trapped and frustrated. Inside, a shared emptiness lingered. They all missed her presence. Deep down, there was a flicker of hope that one day they would reunite. The forged will, a mother's first strike from the shadows. In 2003, Diana felt overwhelmed as Camilla grew more controlling. She returned to the UK, not for attention, but for her sons, William and Harry. Using a new name, Anna Montreux, she disguised herself to protect them from palace dangers. Diana settled into a small flat in London and watched over her boys from a distance. One day, she saw William playing rugby and felt pride and sadness. Later, she spotted Harry at a cafe, laughing with friends, but she noticed the sadness behind his smile. With Camilla's influence increasing, Diana knew it was time to act. She created a fake will that made Mary their guardian to protect the boys if needed. In a tense meeting at Clarence's house, Mary warned Camilla about the consequences if she continued interfering. Camilla's expression changed at the threat, causing a shift that allowed William and Harry more freedom. For Diana, a note from Mary brought hope. Things had improved slightly. It wasn't a complete win, but a step forward. Her fight for her boys was beginning. The wedding shadow, a ghost's whispered warning. In 2005, Charles and Camilla got married at St. George's Chapel. The event was filled with pomp and forced smiles. Diana felt hurt when reading about it, but that pain strengthened her. She decided not to make a scene, but to remind them she was there watching. Disguised to avoid recognition, she blended into the crowd and sat in the back pew, feeling anxious. As the vows were exchanged, Charles fumbling with the ring, while they smiled for the cameras. Diana clenched her nails into her palms. They had no idea she was nearby, but that would change soon. After the ceremony, as guests enjoyed champagne, Diana passed a note to an old retainer who allowed her into Camilla's powder room, which was filled with the scent of regret. Camilla was busy adjusting her lace cuff when Diana revealed herself, slowly removing her sunglasses. "Stay away from my boys," she said coldly. Camilla stepped back in shock. Diana replied, "A mother's not easy to bury," and left a bunch of lilies of the valley, her symbol of fragile hope, on the vanity. As she exited, Camilla sat down breathless, then quietly ordered her aides to learn more about Diana. Meanwhile, Diana felt the impact of her actions as she traveled back south. She had set things in motion. Conflict was coming, but it was worth every shadow she cast for William and Harry. Camilla's paranoia, a hunt for ghosts in Provence. Camilla, now the Duchess of Cornwall, felt the weight of her wedding drama. She often thought of Diana, whose presence seemed to haunt her. Nights at Clarence's house were restless, filled with memories and fears. She heard that voice in her head, "A mother never dies." There was no peace, only echoes bouncing off the walls. Camilla was determined and ambitious. She dismissed the idea of ghosts. "I need to uncover the truth," she said to her reflection, gripping a glass of wine as her hands shook. Before dawn, she called a discreet firm in London to investigate Anna Mantro in France. Reginald Black, the firm's head, accepted her payment without hesitation. "A couple of weeks, Your Grace, will keep it quiet." His team began searching Provence, posing as tourists. They found out about Anna. She was a widow without connections to the royal family. The investigation report landed on Camilla's desk, and each page felt heavy. She tried to brush it off his nerves, but the scent of lilies nearby reminded her of her worries. The feeling of unease grew. Strange notes appeared under her doors with threats like "eyes on you." Midnight phone calls unnerved her. Camilla tightened security and felt tense around Charles, often snapping at him. "What's bothering you, love?" he asked one stormy night. "Just drop it," she replied sharply, turning away. Diana's presence felt all too real. This anxiety wasn't just in her head. It felt like sabotage. Mary, Diana's former friend, seemed to be causing trouble. The fear took over her life, turning the ambitious Duchess into a shadow of her former self, haunted by whispers of betrayal. The prince's secret, a trail of whispers, leads home. Prince William, now 23, noticed something was wrong with Mary at Clarence's house. She often disappeared into corners, writing quickly in her diary and keeping secrets. One cool fall day, he followed her to a cafe in Mulhouse. There she met a woman, exchanged envelopes, and started crying. William's heart sank when he heard, "Your mom, Princess Diana, is alive, hiding in a monastery in Provence." Shocked, he called Harry, who was 21 and still at Sandhurst. "Get here, Mom's breathing," he said, his voice trembling. They met in Paris, feeling disbelief and crying as they processed the news. As they drove through lavender fields, memories of their mother returned. When they finally arrived at the Abbey, Diana opened the gate, and their reunion was filled with joy and sadness. "Why'd you ghost us?" Harry asked, hugging her tightly. Diana explained that she had stayed away to keep them safe from Camilla, whom she thought was harmful. The brothers began visiting her regularly, pretending they were on study abroad trips, but worry hung over them. Camilla noticed their trips and grew suspicious. Meanwhile, Diana felt a strong connection to her sons. No longer just the people's princess, she was now a mother ready to protect her boys. William and Harry felt determined to safeguard their family and face the troubles ahead. The reckoning truth ignites in Clarence House. In late fall 2005, Clarence House felt tense. Charles sat at the head of the table looking for answers. Camilla sat across from him, nervous and anxious. They were discussing the missing royal funds, and the atmosphere was tense. "Camilla, the Swiss slush fund, your name is on it. Tell me what is going on," he demanded. "That's slander." "William is trying to destroy us," she replied, waving her hands. William looked angry, but Harry stepped in. "That's not true. We have the documents." Suddenly, the door opened and Diana entered, glowing and firm. Charles stood up shocked while Camilla gasped. "I'm not here for revenge, Charles, only for our boys," Diana said, looking at Camilla. "You have hurt them enough," Camilla protested. "You're not here." Diana looked kind as she shared proof of the missing funds. "Camilla," Charles said, heartbroken, "you have betrayed us." Camilla slumped in her chair, no energy left to argue. Diana touched Charles's arm. No anger, just let them breathe. Charles cried as Diana comforted the boys, making them feel safe. "Thanks for everything, Mom," William said, feeling emotional. Harry stayed quiet but happy in her presence. Charles turned to Camilla. "Leave." She walked out, fading away. Diana moved into a small cottage in the English countryside, a cozy place for the boys to visit, filled with laughter. Camilla became a distant memory, while Diana stayed a symbol of love and strength. The truth remained alive, flickering